So it's been 2 months without social media for 2024, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a update. So far, I have a couple of major things to just point out. Since taking Instagram and Facebook off my content menu as such, I have found myself trying to fill that gap with something else. So that looks like YouTube, that looks like scrolling on eBay, that looks like scrolling on anything except Instagram and Facebook, which has just made me realise how dependent I am on content itself and the idea of this like passive entertainment more than the social media platform as an app or a website. It's not the website that's the problem, it's the content and the stuff that's on it that I'm addicted to, which has been a big realisation and has had quite a lot of kind of emotional impact as well on me, and just realising that why do I need this content to fill my time? Why am I not using this time for reading or going for a walk, doing some exercise, socialising, seeing friends, cooking, gardening, whatever? Why have I swapped one type of content for another? You may have seen my video about how I'm trying to like get rid of my YouTube addiction, which is just another kind of concept in itself. A lot of people did very helpfully mention that YouTube is social media, and I think in some ways I need to think of it as like content just as much as Facebook and Instagram. Even this like idea of quitting YouTube, like watching YouTube videos, just puts me on like a what would I do in that time? Like I love watching YouTube videos. I think the difference is that Instagram and Facebook was just content that I could easily just pass up and not care about, but YouTube and honestly quite a lot of blogs as well I would be very engaged with, love watching, love the content, feel like I get something from it. Reflecting on that, I now need to consider how I can manage my time in a way that I'm not feeling this constant need for content. And one of the ideas that I had floated in my YouTube addiction video was the idea of having set content watching consuming time. This is kind of based on the idea that back in the day, if you wanted to watch your TV programme or a certain TV programme, you had to wait for the specific time slot that it came on TV before you could watch it. Obviously now with Netflix and catch up and all those kind of things, that it feels less prominent and also less important, but I feel like we're at such a loss there, because when we previously had this set 7 to 8 o'clock time slot for watching some TV show or watching whatever, we now have it at access at all times. Honestly, I find that quite harming to me, having this access, and it does interrupt my day, it does distract me, it does prevent me from doing things that I love. So one of the key things I'm going to try for March is to set times when I can consume content that's online. So this won't include reading books and things like that, but for YouTube videos, for reading blogs, for just browsing the internet in general, I'm going to set myself a time slot, maybe once a day, maybe once every other day, you know, for an hour slot where I can just sit, and that is what I do for that hour, rather than it being this tiny itty bits of content through the day when I'm not really intentionally consuming it, I'm not really thinking about it, I don't learn, I don't feel like I take any of it in. But if I have this intentional time, one, I'm more likely to choose something that I really want to watch and feel that is valuable to me, but also I feel that it might help with the desire to consume content. I don't think content itself is wrong. I think we can learn so much and have that relatability with people online, like this right now. Reflection on kind of January, February is that I seem to be still consuming content, even if it's not Facebook and Instagram. And what I'm going to do to try and mitigate that for March and hopefully April, May, June, etc., is to set myself a time slot. So I will definitely keep you updated on that and how that goes. Slightly more on a personal note, so for context, I moved to a different country after university, and that has meant that I'm quite far away from a lot of my friend groups and social circles from uni. Has meant I need to make lots of new friends, and that's been totally fine. When I had social media, I was still passively keeping in touch with a lot of people that I wouldn't necessarily message or call, and as soon as I stopped consuming social media, all of those people and these like connections and friendships I had in my head just were wiped off the face of the earth, and the immediate effect of that was feeling really quite lonely. Obviously I still have friends and my husband and the people we live with, but like from those wider connections that I had suddenly felt less meaningful because I wasn't checking what they did that day or that week on socials, on Instagram stories. So that's definitely been a negative effect, I'd say, of not having social media. The counteractive argument to that is that I've started to realise where my real connections and real friendships lie, but with that came quite a lot of confusion and loneliness, and just really required me to check in with who I'm connected to, who my friends are, who are my support network. Without social media, you rely on messaging to keep in touch with people, and you rely on seeing them in person as well. Having this like overarching perceived social support then being completely eliminated was really hard. Definitely, if you've never quit social media, that's just something to kind of preface before you do it, is you will feel like you've just lost a load of friends, especially if you kind of live far away or have distant people that you would keep in touch with through social media. I'm still trying to navigate that and trying to look at who I have in my city, who I have that are far away that I'm constantly messaging or keeping in touch with via text or call. And I'm just learning which ones of my friendships are the ones that are most important and the ones that I want to nurture and that I don't need social media to uphold. I don't think the social media should be the structural base for a friendship. If that's the only thing keeping you in touch with that person, I'm not sure how real that friendship is. Obviously there are like a couple of people that I would see very occasionally, but I know that if I message them to meet up, they'll say yes, no problem, and it wouldn't be weird. But there's definitely people on social media that I would, as time goes on, social media is upholding this friendship that I no longer value or need. My energy and capacity to love others becomes thin because I've put all of my energy into all these people on social media that I never see. That's like probably one of the biggest reflections I've had. And on the same emotional note, like, because I was using social media as a distraction, when I took it away, the distraction wasn't there, and a huge surge of emotions and things that I'm feeling that I hadn't processed properly because I'd been distracting myself with social media completely upsurged. And I wouldn't entirely blame this on social media. Obviously, like, my personal circumstance might have influenced that. Like, I'm currently waiting on a job and it's taking a long time, and that's really hard. I just recently got married, so I'm adjusting to a new lifestyle and living in a new house, like, in the last few months. And also the winter season for me always seems to just bring a level of just like, ugh. So in some sense, I am not entirely blaming social media on my emotional outpouring that was January, February. But I think there is some correlation there, because I do remember having, whenever I quit my smartphone and did a flip phone back a couple of years ago now, I remember a similar sort of reaction happening then, of a surge of emotions and things that haven't been processed, just completely uplifting and just derooting me in general. And obviously it is good that these emotions have come out, but it's definitely come in a big wave and I wasn't ready. I'm still dealing with the repercussions of that, and it's good to process. And I worry that social media prevents people from processing their emotions properly. Obviously that's quite a deep one, but I would just love to know if other people have had that experience, because I just find that, is that just a me thing? Am I just becoming distracted and therefore not feeling and having these very human reactions to my scenarios and situations, but it's being suppressed by social media? And I've only realised that in taking social media away. So I worry that people who use social media are suppressing emotions or not processing things properly because social media is masking or distracting them or preventing them from having long periods of focus and time to think and reflect, consider what has been happening in their life and how that's made them feel and what they're going to do about it, how they think, how that changes their perception of the world. Yeah, so I would love to hear your thoughts on that, because definitely from my very, very quick little 2-month update, I know that this will change over time, because whenever I quit my smartphone, the first reaction was emotional. And then over time, I start to feel more and more free and more able to think as the like backlog of processed things were slowly being released. So I guess maybe in my like 6-month update I'll feel totally amazing, but I mean for now it is a real strong emotion response, which is just a real reminder of how psychological social media can be. If you're doing this as well, let me know how's been your first 2 months. If you're interested in seeing how the social media detox is going to impact me, and if you're interested in my journey in this, then do hit subscribe. I'll be putting in kind of not every month, but maybe every 2 or so months a little update on how it's going. If you're doing a social media detox as well, you might find it helpful to have someone to also be doing it and just be relating to that. So yeah, hope you have had a good day. Bye bye.